By Neil Rudel. Neil, we just saw a 24-10 Minnesota win over Penn State here at TCF Bank Stadium. Good effort by Minnesota. I thought they were very well prepared coming into this game. They knew how to beat Penn State's defense, and I just don't think Penn State played a really complete game, the complimentary football that Bill O'Brien wants to see.
Yeah, he called it uncomplimentary. It was about his only really funny line. He was very disappointed for sure. You know, I think that the defense played very poorly in the first half, did make some halftime adjustments, and the offense just really is in a funk right now. I mean, they've played not real well for 3 straight games, really. And when they got in the red zone, the thing that befuddled me today is if you look at the numbers, you know, the 2 tailbacks averaged 6.5 yards a carry on 30 carries. So they really were not stopped. The offensive line blocked well, but when they got in the red zone, they just didn't make pass plays. I think they kind of got away from the run in some of those instances.
And look, it's easy to blame the defense because we saw the defense struggle on 3rd and 4th down in the first half. And really, Minnesota did a lot of things on offense to take advantage of that Penn State defense. But one thing that doesn't get brought up nearly enough, I think, is the struggles of the offense. And frankly, I think the struggles of the play calling by Bill O'Brien. You've got first down at the 16 early in the 4th quarter. They're running at 6 yards a clip.
Yeah,
and you're throwing 4 consecutive times. What do you? I don't understand that.
Well, I think he lost some patience there. He talked about that a little bit. He thought they came into the game they'd be able to run the ball, and they were right. But I think, and he said once they got down 2 scores in the 4th quarter, he thought they had to score more quickly.
There's 10 minutes to go with the game. You run 5-6 times from the 16. You score to cut it to a touchdown with 8 minutes to go. That's plenty of time.
Yeah. So I don't think that part was particularly well handled. You know, the other instances where he was down at the 10, 4th and 2, it was. They decided to go for the field goal. They lined up like they were going to go for it initially. Minnesota called timeout. It was 17-7 at that point. I think that was their best chance on this whole day to create some real energy if they could have scored there. I don't think Minnesota could have stopped Zwinnach in that case.
If you score a touchdown there at 17-14, you've got some momentum. Instead, I think going for 3, you get a little momentum. 3:11 left in the half, and Minnesota goes 74 yards for a touchdown. They get a wide-open tight end in a mismatch coverage against a linebacker, Mike Hull, in the end zone on 3rd and 10. So the momentum really changed in that 4 minutes where Penn State has to settle for a field goal, and then Minnesota goes right down the field for a touchdown.
I mean, I agree. You've got to get points there.
But Bill O'Brien's aggressive. You know, we've seen him be aggressive.
He was actually patient there.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. You want him to be patient. You want him to be patient. You want him to be aggressive. I think the big picture. You also have a freshman quarterback. It's very windy out here. You're on the road. They haven't played well on the road. This is really the product of where we are right now with Penn State football. You know, you have an inexperienced quarterback who at times has shown freshman brilliance, but at other times, particularly lately in the red zone, not so much. And I think Bill O'Brien is still growing as a head coach. It's going to take a little while.
And this is the new norm, and it'll be this way probably at least next season. And then maybe once they start to get the scholarships back, we'll see some changes in 2015. Yeah. But this is just the way it's going to be probably for the next year.
Today would have been actually a really good win.
Sure.
I guess you can't really talk about a win when you weren't really in a position to win the game. But it would have been, this is a decent opponent having a good year.
Hey, Minnesota came in averaging 145 yards passing per game. Had 165 in the first half. That's an example to me of a team and a coach understanding game planning, adjusting to the opponent. You can beat Penn State through the air. I think any capable quarterback can beat Penn State through the air. This was a running team. What did they do? They came out, let's beat them through the air.
Yeah. And I think that, there's so many extenuating circumstances with Penn State. And I mean, like Mike Tomlin says, the standard is the standard, but the standard of Penn State has now changed. We know that. Mike Hull, I think, was very injured. He came back to play. You've seen some real warriors. They just don't have enough players on defense.
5-4 right now. Beat Purdue next week. Purdue's terrible. And then it basically comes down to, I don't think they're going to beat Wisconsin at the end. Nebraska is kind of the difference between a 6-6 or a 7-5 season.
Right, and that'd be senior day, so that would be a way to go out feeling pretty good. The Wisconsin game
Be
is
tough.
going to be tough. You know, Robinson got bumped up today, so did Hall. You can't continue to have injuries and lose players. And we also don't know, is there more of an injury to Hackenberg than we know about?
Hey, congratulations, Minnesota. This is their 4th consecutive Big Ten win, first time since 1973. Sometimes you tip your cap to the other guy. They've got a nice stadium here.
Yeah.
Their program is growing a little bit. And again, it's a good win for them.
Yeah, and you have a coach that's overcome all kinds of adversity with seizures and coaching from the press box.
All right, for Neil Rudel, I'm Corey Geiger. Thanks for tuning in.